Hi there, here we are at RE/MAX in Vernon again. I'm Jen Seller.
And I'm Jamie McKillop.
We are welcoming you back to our Buyer's Survival Guide series. We're now on part 3, believe it or not. So if you've missed part 1 or 2, you're going to want to check them out. At the end of part 2, we were at the point where we were talking about removing subjects from your contract that you've been working through for about a 2-week period of time. So now that you've gone through that part, you're going to make sure that you're totally satisfied with a whole bunch of things that might be in your contract.
Yeah. Title search is something that needs to be done, and you need to have be checked out and check out with your realtor and make sure there's nothing on there that you don't understand. You need full financing approval, preferably in writing from the lender, just because it's crazy times out there. And there's something called a property disclosure statement that you need to go over with your realtor, and they'll explain to you what that is. The home inspection report.
You betcha. Then there's also other things that might be part of each individual deal is going to be a little bit different. So sometimes there's an extra inspection about the septic system. If there has been any kind of damage done to the home or any work done to the home, you might be getting some more information on that, some permits from the city. You're looking at zoning information. You're talking to your lawyer, maybe, or your accountant about GST implications, the building schemes, all kinds of stuff.
So, strata documents, if it's applicable, that's really important. Sometimes a survey certificate that you want to try and get that if you can. Binding for the property insurance, really big. Your insurance, whoever you're using for insurance, that you need to know that they're going to bind the property for insurance come closing when you actually move into your house.
So like we said, each one will be different. So your realtor is going to walk you through all of those steps. And if you have any questions at any point, of course, make sure you ask those questions in that 2-week period. You have to be totally satisfied. So once you're fully satisfied with all of these, then you're going to be signing a document, another piece of paper, removing all of those subjects, saying I'm satisfied, I've fulfilled them, or I've even chosen to waive them. And you'll fill that out with your realtor. It will get signed and sent off to the listing side. And at this point too, you should have chosen your lawyer or conveyancer. Really important that we have that information on there, because these documents are the final ones really of the deal that will be going through the conveyancing office and then on to the lawyers, so that they can get all the paperwork prepared to talk to you about your completion of the purchase.
Yeah, your person that's in charge of financing as well needs to know who your lawyer is, so that they can send all the mortgage information to that lawyer, and so that can all be set up and put together before the completion date.
That's right. So another thing we mentioned was the property insurance in part 2, and this is something we may or may not have touched on. So we just want to make this really clear. When you are talking about getting your insurance binder, it's just the fact that you can actually insure the property. Once you actually go to get that insurance start date on your property, make sure that you get an overlap. The completion date happens before the possession date when you actually move in, and there's a period there where the title is transferred to your name, but you're not actually living in the house yet. So we want to have an overlap. So if you get your insurance, get it started effective on the completion date, by midnight of that completion date, so that just in case something happens, you are prepared and you're covered.
And there's lots of things that could happen before you take possession. I mean, there could be a fire, there could be a flood, the septic could back up, the sewer, something like that, right? Really important that you have insurance on the home if anything like that happens in that 24 to 48 hour period.
And just a reminder too, once the documents are all passed on to our conveyancing office, it takes a little while for them to get processed and sent to your lawyer's office. So don't panic if you don't get a phone call right away. They're going to be calling you, the lawyer's office that you've chosen, within about a couple weeks of that completion date. They're working on a priority basis, so they're taking care of everybody else that's completing before you, and usually within about 2 weeks they're going to give you a call and set up an appointment to meet with you to get through those documents.
Perfect. The next step is the fun part. This is the best part of our job, I think. It's possession day. So that's the day that your realtor actually gives you the keys to the house. Very exciting, yeah. And so at that point, you want your realtor to walk through the house with you, make sure that everything that you agreed to in the contract has been taken care of. There isn't anything that's damaged. You should have the house the same as when you viewed it. That's what the contract will usually say. So it's important that you feel confident in that. Now, there is sometimes a little bit of letdown, and you have to be prepared for that, because once everybody's furniture is moved out and all that kind of stuff, the house does look different. You notice bad paint jobs, you notice bad trim, you notice those types of things, but don't feel bad about that. That's not going to damage your purchase. It's just how it goes. You need to work on those little things. So be prepared for a little bit of that. It's okay.
Yeah, people have lived in these houses.
Yeah.
Typically, unless you're buying a brand new home, you're going to see that lived-in look, and that's normal. So just keep that in mind. And then the other big thing we just want to really finish up with on this part of our buyer survival guide is cleaning.
Yes.
So, I mean, we all have different ideas of what clean really means, and tidy and organized and all that kind of stuff. So moving into a house that's been now, all the stuff's been ripped out, furniture's gone, everything, most people tend to leave it fairly decent,
Fairly
in my
clean.
opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm quite a clean freak.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's
I'm
pretty
not.
decent. But everybody has different standards. They used to write in cleaning clauses into contracts, and they really suggest now we don't because it's such a different standard. I, for one, had a personal experience with a client. They had it professionally cleaned because the buyer wanted it professionally cleaned and wanted a receipt for that. We organized cleaners. We had them in 3 of them for 3 hours at this place. And I came back to check on it in between the client moving away and the buyers moving in. And I walked through the door and was absolutely just, it blew my mind that there actually had been cleaners even in the house. It was that bad. So I actually went in and did it myself for a few hours because it had to be done. And I don't feel good about leaving the house that way for the buyers coming in. So you need to be prepared for that.
Yeah. You definitely need to be prepared for that, and don't let it bring you down.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you know, we try and help out. Jen and I are the type that we try and help out with that situation. We want to hand over our properties clean. We hire professional cleaners sometimes. We make sure that what we are giving our buyers or helping ourselves, we want to be helpful in that process. And that's a little bit of, we've seen many people be very disappointed with houses that weren't clean enough for their standards. So that's just something to remember when you're moving out of a house. You know, when you're the seller, it is something to keep in mind. It makes a big difference for the experience of that buyer. And if you have some care for your home and you actually want to hand off something good, that is a great way to do it.
It is. It's fantastic. So just always, I say, expect the worst and be pleasantly surprised with the best. Unless you're planning ahead and you're going to have those cleaners coming.
Yeah, you bet.
So anyway, thanks for tuning in again for part 3. We hope to see you again soon. We always will have more coming at you.
Yeah, you bet. Every week. Bye.
Bye.